I'm sure as one of your job descriptions, you are also the chief cheerleader for Maryland, and in your travels internationally and nationally, people talk about the wonderful attributes of Maryland, including quality of life, including obviously Maryland crab cakes, obviously water life. Looking at what's happening down in Louisiana, it'd probably just be an academic exercise, except you have a counterpart in Virginia who seems to be hell-bent on offshore drilling off the coast of Virginia, which means, of course, off the coast of Maryland. Seeping oil knows no geopolitical boundaries. Right. Do we have a position on this yet, with regards to offshore drilling? And then the other part of the question is, what things is the state doing, or can we do, to also make sure we're on the forefront of clean energy and promoting clean energy and clean energy companies in the state?
I am very much opposed to offshore drilling in the Chesapeake Bay and the Mid-Atlantic region. Senator Mikulski, by the way, and Ms. Schultz is here representing Senator Mikulski, is adamantly opposed to it. As she so succinctly summed it up, it appears that for BP, their fail-safe was neither safe, or their fail-safe wasn't safe, nor did it, and how'd she say it? She said it better than I did. She said their fail-safe failed, and it wasn't safe. So I'm opposed to it. She is opposed to it. U.S. Senator Ben Cardin is opposed to it. I think that I think we all have to contribute to a cleaner, greener, more energy-independent United States of America. Since last Memorial Day, I've had to attend 15 funerals of young Marylanders who served their country, and I think we owe it to them and their families to make our country as energy independent as we possibly can. I think our part in that, and our natural resource that's available to us right now, maybe there's more technology down the road, I believe is offshore wind. And I'd like to see us pursue offshore wind in the Mid-Atlantic. We are doing that with the state of Delaware. They're a little bit ahead of us, but and I think other governors up and down the Atlantic are interested in doing this as well. And the Obama administration, Secretary Salazar pulled all of us together a few months ago to say, hey, look, we need to pursue this as a group. Allowing states just to do it one-off isn't going to make it. And so I'm hopeful that this horrible devastation that's happened on the Gulf might be a way to prod us to do more on offshore wind and other renewables. As you know, we also are vying for the third nuclear reactor at Calvert Cliffs. And I believe that the new generation of nuclear perfected throughout many places in France and Europe, and that technology being here, I think can bridge us to a cleaner, greener future with solutions, some of which we might not yet fully anticipate. We also have done a number of other things on renewable energy. Well, first of all, in energy efficiency. We've actually led all states in the PJM in terms of peak demand reduction. Did I say that right? Peak demand reduction. And we have a goal of reducing energy consumption by 15% across the board by 2015. We're making strides towards that. We've awarded grants to about 500 Maryland businesses and families totaling $2.7 million that have added about 1,800 megawatts of Maryland-generated solar energy. We recently updated our renewable energy portfolio standards so that there's a more aggressive ramp-up in terms of solar energy. We've awarded about $1 million to 350 different Maryland families to install geothermal units in their homes. We initiated the Clean Horizons Initiative that had the state band together with the university system and to engage in a long-term contracts for renewable energy, and I believe that offshore wind was one of the successful bidders in response to that. We've awarded $9.6 million to 173 different local departments to finance energy overhauls. I mentioned the regional offshore wind MOU that we signed with Delaware. I think we're in Virginia before Tim Kaine left. I don't know if it's still good. And we also opened a green energy center at the campuses at Shady Grove. So one of our top goals as an administration is to create 100,000 clean tech, green tech jobs in the course of the next 4 years. And so those are some of the things that we're doing. And there's a lot more information on our website To drop a name, I ran into Al Gore recently when Maryland was honored as the biotech state of the year, governor of the year out at Chicago, and Al Gore was on that same platform. And he said, boy, you guys have really moved in Maryland from having no energy policy to being at the forefront of the clean green revolution. There's a few states that are ahead of us in a few categories, but overall we moved from the back of the pack to the front of the pack, and we're going to continue to push forward and try to learn and figure out a new way forward. And if you have ideas and want to get looped into these things, please feel free to contact any of the secretaries here, and we'll get you in the clean energy mix. Tom?
As we approach 2011 and considering the budget challenges with the state of Maryland, what can the business community do to support you in your initiatives to move the state forward?
Yeah, the most important thing you can do is to add jobs as soon as you possibly can. I mean, we've got to get our people back to work. And so everything that you can do to save jobs, to add jobs, to retain jobs, and I know it's not easy. All of us have had to make big cuts, but that's the most important thing that you do, is be about the business of business and do it in ways that continue to make Maryland a leader in coming out of this recession. I mean, there's nothing more important than a home and nothing more essential to keeping that home than a job. So jobs creation is the most important thing. Secondly, in this conversation that is the campaign, you know, there's a certain faith that's required in a democracy, and it's the faith that every person has a political responsibility, and that it is a responsibility that's exercised by individuals who have the capacity to govern themselves and to make wise decisions not only for their own here and now and their own families and their own self-governance, but also for the next generation. But part of that faith requires the education and, you know, the broadest sense that we engage in at campaign time. I know almost as sort of a preemptive kind of strike, there are some people who will harp on those areas where Maryland is not competitive with other states, who will say that the 1 penny increase in what was the 42nd lowest sales tax in the nation was somehow a death knell for Maryland business. Nobody likes to raise taxes, but there's a lot of things that come together to make us a leader in job creation right now among other states. There's a lot of things that came together that allowed us to retain our private job base better than all other states. And talking about those things, talking about why Maryland is good for business, I mean, that's, I think, critically helpful to this whole mix as well, Tom. And I'm going to try to do a much better job myself of laying that out in the conversation when we go up against the former governor in this campaign.